If you want to talk about one of the most funniest and weirdest movies from the 80s, look no further than Mac and Me. This movie takes the same idea from E.T. and flips it to a cartoonish product placement extravaganza. It's a movie that can easily turn a person off from watching for the first time, but if you go in viewing knowing exactly what this movie's intentions are, it's just full of laughter in almost every scene. We are first introduced to our alien friends, and I didn't know this was actually Mars when I first saw this movie. It's mentioned it's Mars, but it just flew right over my head. I figured this was a planet so far away that hasn't been discovered yet, but it is Mars, which means that there are living creatures on Mars, thus concluding that Mars has life. The family encounters this space rover robot collecting rocks, and the aliens get in the way and get sucked up and are taken back to Earth, where all the scientists see these aliens, and the little kid one escapes from everybody and joins our other family. Eric and his family are moving from Chicago to California, and we see Eric sees this alien, but nobody believes him. When I say this movie takes the idea of E.T. and turns the whole feel and emotion and turns it into a cartoon, it truly does in every way. But for me, that's what makes me enjoy watching this. It doesn't try to be better than E.T. because that movie is already perfect in every way. There would be no way to top that, not even be close, and this only came out 6 years after E.T., so it was still fresh in audiences. Both main characters are boys, but in Mac and Me, Eric is in a wheelchair. At first, I didn't know if the actor in real life uses a wheelchair every day or if the part was written for a child to be in a wheelchair. It turns out the actor in real life does use a wheelchair. In the beginning, where they are all moving and putting their stuff in the house, they meet their neighbor playing Indian or something, and Eric's brother says, "Welcome to California." Okay, that's fine. When Eric asks her where the creature went, Eric says it's his friend, and she says, "Where are you from?" And Eric says, "Illinois." So, two jokes making a joke about weird people from states. I mean, it wasn't really funny the first time, so it surely wasn't for the second. That always felt so weird to me and bugged me for some reason. When Eric keeps seeing this little creature, he keeps telling his mom what he sees, and she doesn't believe him. It makes you wonder why she doesn't believe him. Like, does Eric normally lie about these things? Does he have some wild imagination that he's always telling his mom about to the point where she's just fed up? It's so weird but funny, like when the TV turns on without being plugged in. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, these aliens have powers where they can shoot electricity like a Pokemon. He tries to show his mom, but just looks dumb. So maybe right here it's kind of like, okay, maybe she has a reason because of this, but still. This is when we get to the scene where most people know about. You know, when he rolls down the hill and falls in the water. For a movie that is going for a very comedic animated tone, this could be viewed sort of terrifying for a person to watch. I mean, he gets saved by the alien and it's fine, but to see him fall like that is either horrifying, but in this case, it's one of the funniest scenes in the movie. And here, his mom is scared out of her mind, hoping he's okay, and all he replies is, "Did you see him?" This scene became more famous when Paul Rudd would go on Conan. Every time we would go to see a clip from his newest movie, he shows Mac and Me, and it's not something he did once. He does it every time, from late night all the way to even today on Conan's podcast. This is why Paul Rudd is one of the coolest people in Hollywood. But back to Mac and Me. Thinking about this does make me laugh now. His mom thinks he's crazy, like he became suicidal going off this cliff just to catch this alien that she doesn't even believe even exists. But the girl next door's seen him too, so that's where they become pals. And it's where we meet the Mcdonald's girl. I say that because she works at McDonald's, which, by the way, is the main sponsor of Mac and Me. That's why it has to have the name Mac in it, even though it means mysterious alien creature. Even Ronald McDonald's is in the trailer telling us about Mac and Me. You can't get more obvious than that. But also Coca Cola is a sponsor. It's what the aliens like to drink. They give him some and he likes it. And Skittles makes a brief cameo as well, and Sears does too. That's where the mom works, so this entire movie just feels like a budget came all from corporate giants selling us the movie watchers their stuff. And if just mentioned McDonald's wasn't enough, we see an entire scene at McDonald's where Eric goes to a birthday party, but the government is on to the alien being at their house, so they disguise it as a teddy bear to bring it. And at this point, we have left the movie for a brief moment and are now in a music video for McDonald's. And to be quite honest, This is the best part of the movie. It's the most funniest thing ever. Look at all these people dancing in the parking lot. Even the workers there are into it, and the football players. I mean, I never went or had a birthday party at McDonald's, but I remember seeing them, and the ones I saw were never like this. It truly makes me think that McDonald's is the coolest place to be. I mean, those government agents' reaction is most likely the audience's reaction to this scene. Like they have no idea what to do, but they chase Eric and the alien. We go to the next scene, which also kind of turns out to be a commercial for Sears. This is where the mom realizes, whoa, Eric was telling the truth, and we see them running everywhere in the store, even breaking all these TVs, which doesn't make Sears look like a nice place to shop if this is the chase scene is going on. But I still like Sears. I got some of my video games there, which I still own today. But this isn't just about Eric and the alien forming a special bond. It's about the alien trying to find where his family is. They've been separated, and the alien family is lost and in the desert trying to survive, and the little alien knows they're alive because they use this signal to communicate with each other. It shows him crying, missing them, and even goes driving a car away from all these crazy dogs trying to eat him. We never get to see how he got down. I mean, he's stuck and those dogs won't go away. We shall never know. Oh yeah, he probably shot electric powers at those dogs or scared them away. Which makes this aliens much more interesting. So not only do they have electric powers, but can also use a form of talking with their body. And it makes me think, were these the only aliens on Mars? It kind of looks like it. I mean, there was nothing else in sight. But anyway, Mac gives them clues throughout the movie to go find his family, which they later do, in a cave, very weak. You kind of worry, but realize, oh wait, those aliens love soda, so they give them some and they get all better. I always wondered how come they didn't eat any Skittles. We see them being held in front of the camera upside down. It's kind of weird why Skittles allowed their product to be upside down in a movie like that. I mean, they paid money. Maybe Skittles didn't want to pay too much money for this movie, so they said, fine, you get to have Skittles in scenes, but it'll be upside down. Now, if you thought the McDonald's scene in Sears and those wild chase scene was out of this world, we are about to see the be all to end all. So now the family's reunited and they are all going back now, but they walk into a market and cause a scene, which causes the police to show up and the government. They see them as a threat and Michael is telling everybody they're not, but all they want is more soda. That's it. But because the dad alien grabs a gun and starts shooting, that's when it turns pretty intense. Eric does his best, but the shootout turns crazy and explodes the market, and the force from the explosion kills him. In the theatrical version, there's a deleted scene that was only released on Laserdisc in Japan where Eric actually gets shot at and dies. Now, I can see why this was maybe deleted. He's been thrown into a river and he already is in a wheelchair. Maybe getting shot at was way too much to see a kid go through. Just seeing anybody getting shot is bad, but a kid you clearly see him getting shot in the chest? Okay, we won't see that anymore. So Eric is gone and it's pretty sad. His mom sees him and we think the aliens died in an explosion, but wait. They are not harmed by fire at all, walking out of it like it's no big deal. Okay, at this point, these aliens are invincible. But if that wasn't enough, that communicating they did earlier also has the power to bring back life. Yup, Eric comes back to life. At this point, you pretty much accept anything this movie is going to throw at us. Even the end, when they are all at the city hall getting sworn in as American citizens. Mac even wears a McKids shirt just to remind us that Mac and Me is brought to you by McDonald's. And that a sequel is on the way, which at the time of this video, McDonald's has no plans for a Mac and Me 2. Mac and Me is definitely a movie you have to go in with certain expectation. Not a high or a low one, but you just have to know the history of this movie and when it came out and why, and if you do, then you'll learn to appreciate it like I do. Not only do I own the DVD, but I also own the Blu-ray release, which has neat features with the director. Would have been cool to have the cast look back, but once you listen to the director's perspective on how he went into Mac and Me, you get why it's how it is. Now, could there be a sequel? Definitely. Those aliens are living on Earth now. It would be cool to see how they live their lives, how the alien kids with school and the parents worked a job with humans. There's a lot of stories to be told, but knowing McDonald's today, it wouldn't be the same. McDonald's wasn't just a place to eat back then. There was toys of Ronald and his pals, the video games, clothing. You ask anybody who grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and even the early 2000s, and they all have great memories of McDonald's. But Today, McDonald's doesn't have that same feeling. They focus more on looking like a Starbucks with that McCafe nonsense. The Happy Meal toys aren't as great, and the most importantly, no more Ronald McDonald and friends. In the trailer, he bragged about him being in his first movie, and this is his only line in it.
Hi, Coach. How's it going?
It's going.
Nice teddy bear.
So maybe Mac and Me is best left alone, but after seeing Mac and Me so much, I have the sudden urge to go have a Big Mac.
It's McDonald's, huh?
Yeah. Why don't you stop by for a Big Mac?
You know what I feel like?
A Big Mac?
Man is a genius.
I'm psychic.
I tell you.